Hey Aunt Donna, to loving nephew Andy, Andrew, whatever you'd like to call me. I just wanted to make you this little video as a thank you card for the amazing gifts that you gave me for Christmas. The stuff from my new kitchen, it's my new apartment. So today I'm going to be making, if you remember, at my graduation, Sarah brought us some cookies from this place called La Ven Bakery, and everybody was just nuts about them. And I've been working for a few years on trying to imitate that recipe, and there's really no way to perfectly imitate it, but these cookies are very close in their size and texture, and I've made some changes to the ingredients. There's some cinnamon, there's some little tweaks in there to make it its own. Not a perfect copycat, but they're really, really good in their own right, and I think you're going to enjoy them. And they might bring back some memories of New York. So feel free to follow along, and if you'd like to make them, great. If not, then you get to see your gifts in action. All right, thank you. Okay, so for this recipe you're going to need some ingredients. Big shocker. So the first ingredient, and this is very important, is 2 sticks of refrigerator cold butter. Take it straight out of the fridge and throw it straight in there. In fact, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to put it back in the fridge before I start mixing it. Wish you could have seen that. It was awesome. Then you're going to need half a cup regular sugar, 1 cup of light brown sugar, and half a cup of dark brown sugar. This is another secret. 2 eggs, 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of either table salt or sea salt, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 package of Ghirardelli 60% chocolate chips, a couple walnuts, and something to get a lot of flavor out of these is to toast them. Your toaster oven, which I have right back there. Another little secret is about half a teaspoon of cinnamon, or to taste. Sometimes I throw a whole teaspoon in there if I want to make it taste very unique. So we've got all our ingredients, let's get cooking. Okay, so the first step we're going to do here is cream together our sugars with the butter. Now, if you do not have a standing mixer, and I do not, this is a very long and painful process because the butter is very, very hard. So we're going to add our light and dark sugars, brown sugars, and our regular sugar into our large bowl. You might have noticed that my shirt has changed color because the dark shirt was making things a bit too hard to see. So we're just going to cube in our butter here. It's all very intimidating. I've never been watched while I've cooked. Okay, so now, like I said, if you don't have a standing mixer, this is a huge pain. I'm not going to make you watch it, but just know that I'm suffering. Great. You cast the line towards the closest brooks. You meet the girl who says she knows the plan. You act impressed and say you understand. Now, if this gets too mind-numbingly painful to deal with, you can add your eggs to sort of aid the mixing process a bit more. That's what we're looking for, nice and creamy. We don't want to over-blend it because if you over-blend your eggs, the batter will become too fluffy when they finally get baked. Okay, so next, like you should with all cookies, you should mix all your dry ingredients first and then add them to the wet. You probably know that if you've ever read the back of a Toll House chocolate chips bag. 2 3/4 cups flour, half teaspoon baking soda, and our 1 teaspoon of salt. Gently mix with a fork to combine. The better incorporated this baking soda is, the more evenly all the cookies will rise. We're going to add this to our wet sugars. Some cooks like to do this a little bit at a time. I like to do it all at once. A little bit harder to mix, but the more you stir, the more incorporated this the dry ingredients become. Okay, once our dough starts to get into this sort of chunky phase with still some flour in there, but it's almost dough, we're going to add our cinnamon so it gets very well incorporated. I think that cinnamon goes very well with chocolate chip cookies for some reason. If you try it, I'm sure you will agree. Okay, so we've mixed our dough, and what you're looking for is a consistency kind of like this. It almost looks like a bread dough. There's going to be a point where your spatula can only do so much, and you're going to have to get in there and dig in with your hands. And it's very firm. It's firmer than your average cookie dough, and that's good. That's because we added the butter very cold, and the slower the butter melts, the less the cookies sort of flatten out like pancakes. So they're going to have a lot of good volume to them, like the La Vente cookies. Remember, they were about yay thick. This is the first time I've used this this food processor so far. I don't know how to take this off. I guess that's how. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're just going to dump that right in with our cookies. Okay, so now we've got the nuts in there. Now dump the chocolate chips in there as well. Got a good knead. There we go. There's our finished dough. I feel like it might be a little light on the nuts, so I'm going to add some more, but you know, do whatever looks like it's going to be right to you. Okay, so I've changed my shirt yet again because it's getting dark, the sun is setting, and I had to put on some lights, and so now I'm going to talk to you about putting the cookies on the sheet. Now this sounds simple, it's not. So, now to get the texture that we want from these cookies, we got to do a little thing here. Now, usually my first reaction when I made these cookies was to just sort of form a ball and let them sort of sink on their own. But that sort of ended up in a puffy kind of dome-like cookie, and that's not very aesthetically pleasing. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of like rip it open like this. So it gets all ragged and torn, and all the nuts and chocolate chips are sort of sticking out. We get something like that. And then we're going to put that down on the baking sheet. And that way, when it flattens out, it's going to be a lot more textured, a lot like the La Vente cookies were. Okay, so we just got our first batch out of the oven, and they look great. In my oven, it took about 12 minutes. It's really hot, so I'm going to put it down. Ow. They look good and golden brown. They've spread out well. They're nice and thick, and they have a great texture. So this is what you're going for. As soon as you start seeing the edges and the tips brown, like that, you'll notice the tip is browned a little bit and the edges are brown. That's when you're going to want to take them out. Even if they feel way too soft in the middle, just let them sit for about 10 minutes. They'll firm right up and become really dense and chewy and just perfect. I'd like to think of it less of it as a copycat than I feel like I should be drinking wine. I'm going to do this again with wine. A little bit of celebratory wine to commemorate a good batch of cookies. So I know I've been kind of slacking with thank you cards over the years, and I hope that this is something that you'll be able to revisit when you want to make cookies, and it's my way of saying thank you so much for all the great Christmas gifts. I used every one of your gifts today, from the utensils, the spatula, to the food processor, to the bowls, and they all worked fantastically. This was their first journey with me, so you got to experience it with me, and I hope that you get to try out the cookies. I hope you get to share them with people, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope it reminds you of when you came and visited New York. So thank you again, and have a great day. Bye-bye.